morning, everybody. Welcome to Medallion Pool's video on the operation of the MX8, which is an automatic swimming pool cleaner designed for in-ground pools. This cleaner can operate in a pool that has basically one level, no deep end, or it can have a hopper, which means you have angles and slopes. It's designed for either one. When you open this box, inside this box, you will find a variety of parts. But please keep in mind that every skimmer is different, so you may not need all of these parts. You'll have a 45-degree elbow with an extension, a regular 45-degree elbow, a valve cuff, a flow keeper, and a flow gauge. These are the different parts. Inside that box also, you will find 12 sections of hose. The beauty part about one of these cleaners is this hose has sections that twist lock together, which means the possibility of it leaking is almost slim and none. Unlike a lot of cleaners on the market that have sections of hose that you have to twist together, and if you don't stick it in all the way, you tend to get an air leak and the cleaner will not be as effective. This is a twist lock system. These sections will just interlock together like so. And you'll notice one section will have a weight. The weighted section of hose will hook right onto the cleaner itself just like that. And the other sections will just interlock together. And they twist. As we mentioned earlier, the MX8 is a suction type cleaner, which simply means it will connect into the skimmer. To make that connection, the first section of hose, which is weighted, will hook right on to the top of the MX8. You open up this piece, you slide that down. Rather than trying to lift it up, because I don't have a prop here to put it on, I'm just going to remove it 1 second. The other sections of hose will just twist lock together, and then the actual flow keeper valve has an arrow. You always want to point the arrow down. That's the flow of water because it's going into the skimmer, going back to the pump for the filter, and returning to the pool. So the arrow needs to be pointed down. And there's numbers like 1, 2, and 3. This little tab comes preset at the number 2. At this moment in time, the factory is predetermining that your filter and pump is ideal for this setting, but that could change. And determine if that needs to be changed, we would use the flow gauge. So basically, once these sections of hose are assembled, you'll take the valve cuff, it goes on to the end with the arrow down, and our recommendation is rather than removing the basket, you could use what's called skim backs. And skim backs will come in different shapes and forms. This happens to be one that looks just like a frisbee. But with this type of unit, you could leave the basket in the skimmer, the skim back fits on top of it, and the actual flow keeper valve would fit in here. Another type of skim back may be the type with a 45-degree elbow. The skim back would still fit on here, but the actual Baracuda MX8 would hook in this way rather than going over the top. Now I'm going to show you a few other adjustments in just a minute. Earlier we talked about the different sections of hose. Once they are twist locked together, we have to fill this hose with water. So you'll take this end over to the return fitting in your pool, and the return fitting may have an eyeball or it may not. If the eyeball is there, you either can remove it or redirect the flow of water down. Because if you kept the eyeball pointed straight with the water flow coming out, it's going to keep the unit from cleaning in this area. So underwater, you would hook this here, make the hose stay underwater here, and you'll notice it will start to bubble. When all that bubbling stops, it's full of water. Then we can take this unit out underwater, hook the flow gauge here. It snaps in place, and I'm going to try to turn it so you can see the red part. The actual flow keeper valve is attached to the valve cup to the skim back, slides in here. You'll place this over the wall into the skimmer, and you'll notice this is a number scale like 0 to 6. You're looking for the flow to fall somewhere within 3. If it does, the actual flow keeper valve is set perfect at 2. If it falls, say, at the number 2, we have to make an adjustment on the valve, which I'll show you how to do in just a minute. Right, earlier we talked about the hose is full of water. It's hooked up with a flow keeper valve. And this is the flow gauge and the flow keeper valve. The flow gauge has a red tab that when underwater, you should get a reading somewhere between 0 and 3. We're looking for it to fall at the number 3. If it does not fall at the number 3, we need to make adjustment on the flow keeper valve. There's a tab here that's preset at the factory at the number 2. So if the flow gauge, say, falls at the number 2, we need to increase the flow of water, so we'll pull the tab out and we go to the bottom setting, the number 3. Or if the flow gauge is greater than 3, we need to decrease the flow of water, so we'll pull this out and we go up to the number setting 1. All right, once this hose is full of water and the flow gauge has been used and the flow keeper has been set, you do not need this anymore. And this connection is made right to the unit itself, and it hooks into the skimmer. Now, if your pool happens to have a second skimmer, the skimmer that you're going to attach this to, you'll need to go back to the other skimmer, and in the bottom you should have like a little swivel door that closes or plug, because this needs to operate off of one skimmer. And once this unit is in the pool moving, if for some reason it stops moving, you might just push this tab down, open it up, and there's little turbines in here. Just check in here and make sure that everything is free, clear, nothing is interfering with the movement of this unit. This is a great, easy, simple unit. You'll have many years of enjoyment. We thank you very much for your time.